beautiful people of the internet. How are you guys doing today? Hopefully great, and welcome back. So here are the 5 must-have primed melee weapons of all time. Let me know down in the comment section if you guys would like to see a part 2 to this particular video. There is literally 500 plus different melee weapons in the game, so the content is definitely there. Also, if you guys would like to go and buy some merch, head to the links down in the description. Starting off strong, we have the Dagger Prime. This is probably the most slept on weapon in the entire game. It's basically a rapier that has a 32% critical chance with a 3 times critical damage multiplier along with a 20% stage chance. But wait, it gets much better than that. Not only does this weapon have a 4 disposition for rivens, but also its stance, Warframe Mask, basically forces bleeds. In other words, you'll be able to proc guaranteed slash procs on the target. And if you guys have been living under a rock, slash is the best element in the entire game, or the physical damage type at least. You can obviously go and combine slash with other secondary elements. Now, it may be vaulted at the time of making this video, and this position may get changed in the future. So I recommend that you guys go and get this weapon and use it as much as possible before the disposition does get nerfed. Because trust me, that will definitely happen. Nerfs and DE are like best friends as of now. Next on number 4 spot is we have the Dagger Prime. So before Melee 3.0, this weapon was rarely used, but me personally, I absolutely loved it. The part that made me love this weapon was because of a stance called Crimson Dervish, and what made this stance so special is that you'd basically be able to perform the most simplest of combos, and they'll open enemies up to finish the damages. Then you'd go up to an enemy and then you'll just execute them. This weapon went from meh to absolute beast. In fact, the same does apply to all single-handed swords. So let's say theoretically that you guys do not have the Dagger Prime, because I wouldn't be surprised if you guys didn't, because this weapon did come with Mag Prime access, and Mag Prime as of now is currently vaulted. Now, a healthier alternative to the Dagger Prime is to go and get yourself the Broken War. And I feel like the Broken War is actually a much better option than the Dagger Prime, just because you can get the weapon relatively easy by going and completing the second dream quest, or if you guys accidentally delete it, then you can have to hope and pray that the Stalker does drop it. And trust me, it's a pretty rare drop. I wouldn't say it's a common drop. The most common drop the Stalker does have is the Dread, and I mean, that's a pretty boring weapon to go and use. So either use the Dagger Prime or the Broken Wall. The whole point is Prime single-handed swords are absolutely phenomenal. Next up on our number 3 spot is we have the Reaper Prime. Just like the single-handed swords, these sides are back and stronger than ever. Now, you'll probably recognize a pattern here with weapons having high crit, high stage chance, meaning that you would have to go with a hybrid build, with your condition overload, with your weeping wounds, and obviously your 2 dual stat elemental mods of your choice. So yeah, sides such as the Reaper Prime, the Hate, etc., those type of melee weapons are currently extremely powerful. In fact, you could arguably say they're almost the most powerful melee weapons in the entire game. I believe all the sides, all of their dispositions got dropped from like a 5 or a 4 to like a 1. Don't quote me on that, but I do know that their rivens were adjusted, because trust me, they are ridiculous. Coming in at our number 2 spot is the Gram Prime. Now, in all my years of playing Warframe, I never thought that I would actually see the Gram this powerful. Now, before the Gram Prime was even thought of, like this was like before Chrono Prime was even thought of, the Gram was a huge laughing stalker, and I mean, or laughing, I don't know what that saying is, but you guys get what I mean. This weapon was purely used for Mastery Florida. In other words, Mastery Florida is a terminology that's used in Warframe, where basically this equipment is so useless that its only purpose is to go and get me my mastery points. And that's what the regular Gram was like. And then Melee 3.0 came out, and then the Gram Prime came out, and man, this is probably, I've never seen such a huge increase to a weapon's damage in my life. The Gram Prime basically has a 32% critical chance with a 32% stage chance, along with its main damage type being slash. In other words, the perfect armor slaying weapon out there. And finally, on our number 1 spot is we have the Chrono Prime. Now, some of you guys have probably guessed before even watching this video, and yes, the Chrono Prime is a very powerful melee weapon. It has neck and neck with the Reaper Prime, the Gram Prime, and all the other Prime weapons that I've just listed on. In fact, all of these weapons are so closely related to each other, it honestly depends on what your playstyle is and what you like using or like looking at least. I like the Dagger Prime because it's different, it's not like it's meta, and also it's got the highest riven disposition in this list. So yeah, The Chrono Prime, like I say, with the Dagger Prime, was a huge laughing stalker, or a huge, whatever that saying was. Basically, no one used it, people made fun of it. It was literally a cosmetic item, that's how useless it was. So mastery frauder. But when Melee 3.0, and oh boy, let me tell you, this weapon came back with vengeance. Not only did it have a 5 disposition when it first got buffed or when the melee changes did happen, but also this weapon was the ultimate armor slaying beast. A disposition of 5 with a very high critical chance and an extremely high stage chance, and its main damage output was slash. I'm sure you guys have actually noticed a pattern, you know, any weapon that has a high crit, a high status, and its main damage type is slash will always be the best weapon or one of the best weapons in the entire game. Because like I must have mentioned earlier, slash is the best physical elemental type in the entire game. Just because if you guys do go and proc enough slash procs, you'll be able to melt enemy armor regardless of their level. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today's video. If you guys have liked the video or you genuinely helped you out, then remember to leave a like and don't forget to spot and click the subscribe button for more Warframe videos. I'm gonna make like a banana and split.